Hello, everyone. Let's talk really quickly about the paper that's coming up. So I hope that you've already all been looking through these guidelines. They've been on Canvas since the beginning of the semester. What I do want to just do is touch on a few things that students sometimes miss and a few things that sometimes I see students forgetting about by the time they turn in their final paper. So we have a couple of different options. Right up here underneath research options, I see a few students who have a problem with this every semester. We need to choose a topic that's inside the scope of our class, right? So after 1400 up till today in the Western tradition, I will say that when you choose something that's more recent, sometimes it's a little bit harder to find scholarly information on that and not just like newspaper articles or art criticism, which is not the same thing as art history. So when you choose something that's relatively recent, 5, 10 years, you might have something that is a little bit trickier to research. So make sure you choose your information carefully. You have a couple of options, but as I said before in class, if you would like to do something outside of these options, just send me a quick email. I'm more than likely to approve it. I just want to make sure that you're still doing something that fulfills the requirements because no one wants to do all of this work and not have it be the full shebang of what you're supposed to be doing. So the first option is to talk about politics. Tons of different ways you can take this, whether it's responses against political leaders or political situations or for political leaders or situations. So many different things. There's a couple of different questions you might consider if you were talking about politics. You do not have to address all of these questions. You can talk about things outside of this. Those are just to kind of get your ideas going. The second option, something surrounding labor and work. Right? So people at work, um, and different kinds of things along those lines. And the third option is to talk about gender roles. So any of those are the very wide open possibilities for this paper. But again, if you'd like to do something different, I'm happy to let you do so. All right, so this just gets into a few specifics for creating a narrow thesis. Architecture is usually pretty hard for students because there's just too much to tackle in a short paper like this. So if you choose to do architecture, make sure that you're really being aware of that and you're focusing in on one aspect of the architecture, not trying to tell me the entirety of the building and all the works of art that make up the building. Okay, 5 to 7 pages in length, 1 inch margins, normal font size, 12-point font. It's really obvious when I'm grading when I come to a paper that, I've been looking at 12-point font, double space, 12-point font, double space, and all of a sudden I get 12.5 font and like 2.25 spacing. Like it just immediately shows up. I don't like feeling like you think I'm stupid enough to be tricked. I'm sure you can appreciate that. If you are too short, find another source. Put in some more information. If you are too short and you fill up your paper by repeating what you've already said, you're not doing yourself any favors there either. So, if you end up being short, just do a little more work. You need to have a title page that doesn't count toward your page requirement. That's 5 to 7 pages of text. So you put your page there, the title page first, then the next page is page 1. Okay, then the sources. So this is the thing that we've changed. Normally you have to have only one internet source, but we've allowed for more internet sources because it's not easy to get to the library right now for most of you. I want you as much as possible to use the scholarly databases that you can access from the library. I understand if you need to use more actual web sources, like an actual website instead of just an online database. And I've allowed you to do more of that with the change in the source requirements. But the better your information and the better your sources, the better your grade will be. So, just kind of take that into consideration. Most online sources are really broad in general. They're going to give you basic facts. This is when the artist was born. This is the movement they are from. This is the subject matter of the work. And many online sources don't take it past those basics. And this whole paper is supposed to be beyond the basics. This whole paper is supposed to be about specific details. So if you're using a lot of online content, sometimes it's really hard for you to get the right type of information. That's the only thing I want you to be thinking about. It is getting better in the past few years. There are more things available online. So just kind of be very careful with the information that you're choosing to use. Okay, there's a whole thing that walks you through the research guide for art, talks about what you do to find articles, Okay, how you find books, and of course, if you're someone where you can get to the library and get a book, awesome. If that's not something you feel comfortable with or something that's not in the scheme of things for you because you're not close by, you can try and use ebooks. You can try, to do something like that. But I kind of understand that the library's tricky right now, so do your best um, with that. Okay, you can use the internet, so this is a little bit different, but it does kind of walk you through, hey, be aware that this is not the best source to choose online. Okay, Wikipedia, you just can't use it in a scholarly paper. It's not reviewed, it's not stringent enough with its requirements. So I know it is also getting better, but still, if you like what you see on Wikipedia, then go down and look at the footnotes and get the sources that that article used. Okay, here's some tips on finding your images. Finding images doesn't count towards your source requirement. Okay, then it walks you through some basics on citations. You can use the Turabian style or you can use MLA. The basics for doing all of these are easy to find online. I've walked you through just some of the very, very basics. If you want to use Turabian, those are footnotes. If you do Control Alt F when you're in Microsoft Word, it will automatically insert the footnote for you down at the bottom of the page, and it will format it all correctly for you. But you can look and see the formatting here. It's going to be a smaller font size. You should have a hanging indent on the first line. The first citation, this first footnote, excuse me, is a little bit longer, gives all the information for the source. And then the second one is just the last name and page number, which is very similar to MLA. Okay, so you can use the Turabian if you like. Here's one plug for Turabian. It does take up space on your page way more than the MLA style does. I really like Turabian and I would love for you all to use it. But if MLA is easier for you, go for it. But just be sure that you're citing all of the ideas that you're getting from other sources, right? This idea came here, this idea came here, and include all of those necessary citations. If you're unsure, cite on the side of caution, right? Put that citation in if you're not sure if you need it or not, because it's a big problem when you leave them out. Not only is it technically plagiarism, but it also, adding those citations gives your paper authority because none of you are authorities on the subject. I don't mean that in a mean way, but you need to back up what you're saying by people who are authorities. Okay, then it walks you through the works cited list. That will be on a separate page after your 5 to 7 pages of text. Then your images, also a separate page beyond your 5 to 7 pages of text. This is how you label them. And then this is your grade. So as you can see, number 1 here, your narrow focus of your thesis and all of the information that you use to support that. That is the bulk of your grade. That accounts for about 35 points of the 100. Okay, citations, that accounts for about 10 points. Unless they're missing totally, then you get a way bigger deduction than just 10 points. Grammar, punctuation, sentencing, again, that's about 10 points. And organization and formatting, that also is about 10 points. So you obviously get some points there just by writing a paper and doing your bit, but then you build on that from there, and the majority of your points are going to come from the quality of information. So really try to do your best in finding good content. If you are researching and you're not finding information you need in the scholarly databases on that work of art, just cut your losses and find a new work, right? Don't keep researching something that's really hard for you to find information on. If you feel like you found a lot of good information, but you need just a bit more and you're not having any luck, send me an email. I'm happy to help you with search terms or say, well, I did a quick search and this is what I found. Have you seen this yet? Or have you seen this? Or you can give me a call and we can talk about it. My number is 801-787-8549. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you've already started on your paper, and I am looking forward to reading them on April 15th.